Hello, and welcome back. I am Maester Aelix, and this is Shadowrun Hong Kong. And we are right back where we left off here in the boat. Though, we are off to see our good friend Kindly Chang in the Mahjong parlor, because she has summoned us, and that is what you do when your boss calls you in. You show up. Hi, Kindly. It's good to see you. And our other friends. Kindly's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. The clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In this its place is a low murmur of laughter and an air of eager anticipation, all eyes focused on the groaning figure kneeling bloody and bound at the feet of Kindly Chang. She beckons to him with a finger, and he struggles towards her, the loud rustling of the plastic tarp crackling under his knee as he moves. His pants are wet with fear. And a acetylene torch lies on the table at Chang Li's right hand. Kindly Chang's right hand. Kindly Chang ignores the scene. She behaves as if it's all right in the world. How did you sleep, my little ones? Let's see. Like a baby auntie, I'm still in the afterglow of our tour of the walled city. Not too well. Fine, thanks. What's with the guy on the floor? I'm still in the afterglow of our tour of the walled city. The Triad boss's eyes turn to half moons of amusement. Afterglow? Really? She nods her head back towards the pillar of meat standing behind her. Then you should be delighted to say hello to your old friend, Strangler Bao. He's here because of you. How very pleasant to see you again, Mr. Bao. What's up, beef? Ignore him. How very pleasant to see you again, Mr. Bao. Bao inclines his head 1/4 of an inch. Well then, now that the niceties are over, let's get to the nasties. She indicates the kneeling man with an incline of her nose. Shitbird here is a plainclothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before his competition got you first. My men found him outside of the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to that the rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. She nods her head and back towards the pillar of meat. Thank you, Mr. Bao, for that. Nod at Strangler Bao. Ignore him. Thank you for your guarantee and safety. Sure the Night's Watchman now, buddy? Nod at Strangler Bao. Bao inclines his head 1/4 of an inch. He addresses the bloody man in his. Now, Shirtbird, tell my friends what you told me. I don't know anything, I swear. We just got the order last night. He pauses. He pushes his head towards you and Wu from the floor, struggling to keep his balance. Somebody high up wants these two dead. The whole department is on it. I don't know anything else. Someone from up high. The woman lifts her foot, taps his chin with the toe of her shoe. How high? The cop looks up to her, looks around the room filled with Triad soldiers. One of them opens his coat and shows the cop something inside. He closes it slowly and winks. The cop drops his head to his chest. All the way up. It's someone on the council. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead. Chang spits on him with a sneer. Screw your ancestors to the 18th generation. Give me the truth. The cop wears the spittle. He never lifts his head. It's the truth, madam, I swear it. Whoever it is, label them as terrorists. We're to terminate with extreme prejudice. Kindly Chang shuffles closer to the kneeling cop, reaches down and strokes his head with a hand. Then she slowly digs her fingers into his scalp. She pulls back hard until his chin points high. The Triad boss leans down and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. She lets go of his head and smooths his buzz-cut hair with her hand. For whatever reason, last night someone in the Executive Council of the Free Enterprise Zone ordered Hong Kong Police, the Hong Kong Police Force, to kill two nobodies in Seattle. From Seattle. I find that fascinating, don't you? Yes, but why not? Why the need to label us as international terrorists? Not really. Corporations can just order the cops to kill people here. Yes, but why the need to label us as international terrorists? She strokes the policeman's cheek with the back of her hand. Her rusty voice becomes sweet and explains the ways of the world. Propriety, my darling. The government has someone gunned down. They prefer to make it appear justified. The people feel safer when their murderers feel like part of civilization. My, but you have definitely fallen into the deep end of the pool. Seattle isn't Hong Kong. There, the megacorps control the government. Here, the corps are the government. The exec council is chosen by corporate brand of governors. They're basically legislative and executive branches of the Hong Kong government into one tiny package. 8 people call the shots, neat and efficient. Kindly Cheng steps back from the cop and lights one of her thin black cigars. For the wage slaves and civilian sheep, the corporations are a plethora of gods who wield absolute power. She looks around the room. But not for us. The Triad woman takes a long puff from her cigar and taps her ash into the kneeling cop's head. Who else knows about my guest here, Hioi, shitbird? My guest visit. No one, madam. I hadn't called it in yet. I wanted to kill for myself. No one knows they're here, I swear it. She turns to the enforcer. Mr. Bao? Bao fiddles with PDA in his meaty hand. He's telling the truth. No outgoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao, she nods to the cop, and thank you for your honesty. In one smooth motion, Strangler Bao produces a silenced pistol, fires it once into the policeman's head, replaces it in his jacket. His face never changes expression. Looks like the triads can be just as efficient. I was wondering what we're going to do with him. What the hell? That was a cop. Looks like the triads can be just as efficient. Cheng takes a drag from a cigar. Yes, my darling. She balances the cigar on her shot glass, picks up the mahjong tiles, and begins playing them with them absently. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involving the walled city, something have to do with prosperity. And this executive council member wanted Raymond dead for it. She stacks the tiles one by one. Click, clack. And now they want you dead for it too. Click. This plastic-faced man may show up on your door one day too. She knocks the pile over and it clatters to the table. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. A smile lights up in her dead black eyes. Work for me. With Nightjar and Gunshot dead, I find myself with 2 job openings. Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here, players unaffiliated with the Triads who can take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about our town. You've proven yourself resourceful, and you have no existing connections here. This can be a positive line of work. See, Duncan, I knew it. She wants to become our Shadowrunners. Wants us to become Shadowrunners, huh? What a surprise. This line of work sounds dangerous. Shadowrunners. See, Duncan, I knew it. Yep, you saw that coming. In exchange, I will keep you safe from pests like this one. She nods at the body on the floor. The pool butt on the plastic wrap continues to widen. You'll have safe harbor in my town and a steady source of income. She picks up a handful of tiles again. And while you dip your toe into the waters of corporate espionage, organized crime, and clandestine mercenary actions, I will employ my network to find this plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, who he's talked to, who stood to gain from his death, what this prosperity could be. Alright, you're pulling out a lot of effort to help a pair of foreigners. Not foreigners, my sweet. Valued business associates. I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then ordered the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. Her voice drops and becomes deadly serious. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Force dictates that it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. Huh? We need to find out who killed Raymond and why? How would the arrangement work? I find the right jobs with your talents. You do what our clients cannot do for themselves. I take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You may make a lot of neon very quickly. It's all very civilized. She leans in. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money. Let my networks work for you and help you find what you've gotten yourself into. Without my help, you won't last a day out there. You're completely out of your depth, I'm afraid. You need a partner. Kindly Cheng will be your partner. Wu's hand goes to his hips. He drops his head and shakes his head a little. Just like you said, Aelix, Shadowrunners. Glad I had some time to think about it. Process. He grips the back of his neck, squeezes hard, rips his hand away. Ah, screw it. I'm not a cop anymore. That guy's dead. He nods, decision made. I'm in. What about you? Let's see. I'm in too, don't have anything back home. Good money in the shadows, about time I cashed in. I'm in until I can clear my name and get the hell out of Hong Kong. I'm gonna find out who killed Raymond, someone's gotta pay. I think Ray's still alive too, let's run the shadows and figure out what happened to him. Yeah. Raymond's still alive, I'm sure of it, so I'll run in the shadows as long as Auntie Chang keeps up her end of the bargain and helps us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm gonna find my father. Then it's done. Hioi is now open to you. She gestures to Lieutenant, who raises his finger to her ear and whispers into her sleeve. First order of business, Aelix Chen, Duncan Wu don't exist anymore. You'll need street names. Yeah, okay, I'll think of something. Gobert rubs her cheek against her a glint in her eye. I think we've already got you covered, gun show. She turns to Isabel. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that was going to stick. It has stuck. Gobet, Isabel, we'll handle this the same way we did with your previous work. She didn't say Nightjar. All the jobs I line up for you will be sent to your computers on the squat boat. She's pointing you. My computer? I'm not the leader type. I got it. Why him? It's a simple process of elimination. She points to the Decker. Isabel isn't the leader type. You got that right. As for Gobet, let's just say Gobet doesn't have a head for business. Not my thing. Then she points finger with. And then there's Gun Show. She wiggles it. The jury's still out on my Mr. Gun Show. Meaning? Her response is direct, straightforward. Meaning there's a lot going on in that head of yours, and right now I'm not sure I can trust you. So I'm in charge of the best of the worst. Gun Show will be fine, trust me. Jury's out with me too, Duncan. You're a raw nerve, and I have to keep you. Gun Show will be fine, trust me. Yeah, you're raw nerve, and I'm gonna have to keep my eye on you. Finally, Chang makes contact with you and holds it. She keeps it steady for a long time. Who doesn't notice? I get it. Feels like I've been on till since I arrived in this country. He looks at you. Fire lead, Aelix? Okay then. Guess who I'm running the show? I had a handle back in the Barrens. Maester. Guess it's time to dust it off. Alex Chen doesn't guess America. Oh yeah. Dust it off. We shake head. Gonna be weird calling you Maester again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. Gobbet looks at Isabel Tawu. I guess this is our new crew. The rat on her shoulder screeds to the top of her head for better view. Welcome to the shadows, Maester. Alright. Well, let's see what kind of missions we got. And, hello, bow, goodbye, officer. Yeah. And little guy's in charge. Go, little guy. Crew advancement available. As you lead your team through the shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Clicking the icon in the lower right-hand corner of the screen will open up the new crew advancement menu. Then the icon is highlighted. One or more of your companions is able to learn a new combat skill. At each advancement level, you need to choose one of two possible combat skills for your runners. Choose wisely. Well, let's see what we got. Let's see, we can have Territoriality. Gobbet spends more time in the firing range, increasing range combat skill and SMG specialization by 1, or Spirits will never break away in the first 2 rounds after summoning them. Well, since we don't really... Alright, we got Wu for guns and me for melee. Spirits is probably a really good thing for her, so we're going to confirm. Yes. Spiritualist it is. Alright. Oh, someone else. Oh, hello. Duncan. Lethal Force. Duncan gains an assault rifle ability that fires a single shot of incendiary ammo. Does initial 2 damage and pierces up to 2 armor. Or crowd control. Imbalances targets. Well, I'm going to go with firepower because you're our gun guy. Firm. Isabel, sabotage or espionage? Grenade launcher can now fire remote mines, which can be triggered and detonated at will. Or Tar Blaster 1.0 program. Upgraded version of Blaster. Yes, we're going to go with your hacking. So that's all of them. Let's see. And nope, yeah, it is now clear. So we're going to go back to our place and see what kind of mission we can get ourselves up to. Home sweet boat. Alright. Oh, is that the hatch? Probably down to the engine room where we can meet our new... Ah, hello. Ractor. Alright, hello, Ractor. It's oppressively hot down here. The air is full of synthetic odors that grab you by the sinuses and refuse to let go. You can smell engine grease and melting plastic, ionized air, and lead solder. A quick scan of the room tells you why. The downstairs tenant has converted the space into a machine shop. Metal fabrication tools and Duraplast extruders line the wall. A pair of heavy industrial manipulators hang from the ceiling. A man in a black trench coat stands with his back to you, staring at a monitor mounted above a sturdy workbench. He addresses you without turning. Ah, I was wondering when you'd meet the new neighbor. Or when I'd meet the new neighbor. His voice is pleasant, cultured. A hint of a Russian accent there, but it's buried under layers of nuance. Please stay where you are. I'll be with you in just a moment, and unless you fancy an unplanned trip to the Chrome Alley, don't touch anything. There's all sorts of manner of tools here that could take your hand clean off. Let's see. Take your time, I won't touch anything. Ah, very kind, thank you. Try to see what's on screen, examine the robotic arms mounted on the ceiling. You focus on the enormous manipulator arms that you saw earlier. They're bulky, industrial things, dented from years of heavy use. Each arm has been fitted with at least a dozen different welders, soldering gun, extruders, and metal fabrication tools. You've seen machinery like these in factories before, but they look terribly out of place in the bolt hole's cramped engine room. Very good, yes, it's coming along nicely, very nicely indeed. He turns towards you, smiling, and for the first time you can see his face. His broadly handsome Slavic features and a chiseled jaw. His eyes are like flecks of ice. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Maester. It's not a problem, don't worry about it. You're too kind. Now tell me, what can I do for... His voice trails off, a flash of motion catches his eye. With alarming speed, a sinister-looking drone scuttles out from under a work table. Its movements are surprisingly agile and fluid. The machine rears back menacingly, spreading its forelegs in a clear sign of aggression. The man's smile tilts, his tone no longer apologetic. Please, don't mind the drone. He can be territorial. But so long as you remain civil, he will not bite. He extends a hand. Simultaneously, the drone relaxes into a neutral position, lowering from its killing legs. Doctor, my mechanical counterpart is called, Koshiki. Shake his hand, slap him 5, refuse to shake. A pleasure. His hand is rough and abnormally warm to the touch. He shakes your hand with a solid grip. I'm very pleased to meet you, my friend. In a community such as Hioe, it is important to be on good terms with your neighbors. Agreed. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask you some questions if you have time. Absolutely. I don't have time. Yeah, we have time. He glances at the bracer of the forearm, a technical display wings to life, then gutters out. Very well. The moorings casting should still be cooling for a few minutes yet. That's time enough to talk. Let's see. You got some interesting machinery down here, not the kind you typically see outside of a corporate setting. He smiles. The same could be said about many in Hioe. I'm sure this is a smuggler's den, is it not? Our entire economy is based on people having things they shouldn't. Is there a particular device you're interested in, out of curiosity? Yeah, the robotic arm that you've got there. Looked like something that's taken from an automotive assembly plant. Good guess, that's precisely what they are. They fell off a boat, you might say. They weren't cheap, but I acquired them and had them mounted to the walls of my shop. I simply had to have them. The returns on their investment have been dramatic. Yes, they're cruder than the Walda devices I use in my professional life, but they still do the job and they are mine. He gazes lovingly at the industrial arm, still smiling. They have increased my fabrication capacities nearly tenfold, and that, to me, is worth any price. Nice. This morning's casting, what do you mean? Exactly what I said. A casting I made a new locomotive assembly for Koichi. He gestures to the display above the work table. A biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of the decapod crustacean. The mangrove crab, to be specific. That's fascinating. And what will the new leg assembly make your drone more effective? That remains to be seen, but there is more to life than combat effectiveness, is there not? By fabricating new components for Koshiki, I unlock options, different ways of being. Even the failures, and there have been many, have been valuable in context. Excellent. How did you learn how to do all of this? More training experience than I care to mention. Drone architecture was once my profession, you see. Now it's more of a calling, one that I'm free to pursue, now that I've freed myself from the shackles of corporate servitude. Interesting name for a drone. Yes, I suppose. That is, not many riggers would name their most prized possession after a villain in a fairy tale. A nod to my heritage, I suppose. What's a fairy tale about? A thoroughly unpleasant person. He was the Deathless, as he was called, and for one good reason: his soul was cleverly hidden outside of his body, and he could not be killed so long as it remained intact. Koshi was a villain and a notorious kidnapper of women, but something about him always struck with me. I suppose that it was the notion of immortality through cleverness that resonated. There was something to be learned from that, and I was sure. And so, when it came to time to name my beloved creation, it was the first name that came to mind. And your drone Deathless like this namesake? In a manner of speaking, I suppose he is. I have redundant copies of every piece of his architecture and core programming stored in disk in a secret location. Should he ever suffer critical damage, I can easily bring him back. I had a plan once to automate the self-repair process, but I must confess it was really quite ingenious. But alas, my research was lost. One day I will reclaim it, and he will become as deathless as the stories claim. But it will not be today. Excellent. Are you Russian? I caught a hint of an accent there. He nods. And you have a good ear. I'm impressed. Yes, I grew up in Novgorod. Sorry. I went to school there, started my career there, and industrial sector. A fairly common story, I'm sure. But I've also traveled a great deal, and in so doing, I have absorbed a number of other languages and dialects. Nice. Alright. Well, if you're born and raised in Russia, what brings you out to Hong Kong now? Same thing as that attracts many to the free enterprise zone: opportunity. You yourself are a recent transplant, are you not? Your Cantonese is heavily accented style of many of the UCAS expats. This isn't criticism, mind you, just a statement of fact. Yeah, I'm new here. You're right, I'm originally from Seattle, or I grew up running the streets of the Redmond Barrens every day out of that place is a good one. You have my condolences. I have heard of these barons and the gangs that rule the streets there. I'm afraid that our own walled city might have you beat in terms of gang activity and overcrowding, but it isn't a comparison. Both environments are deplorable, especially with stomping grounds for a young child. And I have to get back upstairs. Very well, come back anytime. It's pleasant to have someone to talk to. I like this guy. And here's where I'm going to say, thank you all for joining me. I really hope you're enjoying this series. If you do, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, share. With that being said, I shall see you all next time.